Dear students of class 12, today we are going to do the poem Sonnet 18, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day. This is the fourth poem of your syllabus and the last one. Now Shakespeare, it's a sonnet by William Shakespeare. You're already familiar with Shakespeare as a playwright. You have read several plays of his, and last year in class 11 you have read Your Rapid is fully based on the plays of Shakespeare. As we know that Shakespeare is not only a playwright, he is also a poet. Okay, and he has written sonnets, he has written tragedies, comedies, historical plays, and you have read some of the very famous ones. Now he has written as many as 154 sonnets. Okay, out of that we are going to we are going to deal with today sonnet number 18. Now out of this 154 sonnets, first 126 sonnets have been addressed to a young friend of his, young man, okay, who is a very handsome young man. And in this, since it is sonnet 18, this sonnet is also addressed to this young friend of his. And the next 28 sonnets are addressed to a dark lady. Now in this sonnet, it is as you know, a sonnet is a 14-line poem, but it is a Shakespearean sonnets. Shakespearean sonnets are different from the pattern of the sonnet is different from the Petrarchan sonnet, that is, which has the octave and the sestet, that is 8 lines and 6 lines. In that way it's divided, but here we see that it ends in a rhyming couplet. Now how it is, we will and as we read it we will understand it. Now as in this poem, what Shakespeare does is he begins with a rhetorical question. Yes, shall I compare thee to summer's day? He puts a question mark over here. Okay, shall I compare thee to summer's day? And what he says is that summer's day means the summer season, and then he finds that his friend is more lovely and more temperate. As he says this because he finds that summer also has its drawbacks, but and he says that but his friend youth will means the youthful beauty of his friend will remain forever. How? Because he will write about his youthful beauty in the poem itself, and as long as people read the poem, his friend will remain young forever. Now let us read the poem first, and then we will go on to the line by line explanation. Shall I compare thee to summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometimes declines by chance, or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou'st, nor shall death brag thou won't rest in his shade. When in eternal lines to time thou growest. So as long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Now we go on to the. So first he begins, shall I compare thee to summer's day? So he has a kind of a doubt that whether his friend should be compared to a summer's day. Now summer in England, as Shakespeare is an English poet, is a very warm and pleasant season. Okay, it is a wholly desirable season, because people wait for summer season, because the sun shines brightly, and you have the flowers all around, and the weather is also very pleasant. So that way, summer is summer symbolizes everything good in it. But then in the very second line he says, but thou art. Thou is an old way of expression of you. Thou means you. You art. Art is also an archaic, that is, it's no longer used, it is Old English. Thou art means you are more lovely. But the summer season is very beautiful, but you are much more handsome. Your beauty is uncomparable in that way. Thou art more lovely and more temperate. That is, even though the summer season represents growth and fertility and warmth and love and everything, still I find you more handsome and more gentle in every way. Now why does he say so? Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. That is, everything is good in summer season. It is a very pleasant season, weather is very pleasant, but summer also has its pitfalls or drawbacks. Okay, and what are they? Sometimes there are winds that blow, rough winds, that means winds that blow at a very high speed. So such winds, when they blow, what happens? As a result of such winds at a high speed, they shake the trees, in a very violent way, and as a result, the darling buds of May, that is, before the flowers can blossom, before the buds can, from the buds it can blossom into a flower, they are shaken by these rough winds, or these winds with blow at a very high speed in such a way that they fall off the trees. So this is something that poet sees as a drawback of summer. That is, summer is good, but everything is not good, because sometimes due to these rough winds, due to these very violent winds, they destroy the buds which could have blossomed into beautiful flowers. Then, and summer's leaves, generally we use this word lease with maybe when you rent a house, and you get into a lease, that is a contract with the with the owner of the house. That is a contract between the owner and the person who is renting the house. So in those ways we use the word lease. So summer's lease, that is, here the word lease is the period up to which the season lasts. So summer's lease hath, again this is an old way of it's old English. Okay, summer's lease hath means has, that is the span of the summer season has all too short a date. In simple terms, it is said that the just as we get into a contract in different matters, in the same way it seems that it has a lease, that is the span of summer season is very short, that is summer is short-lived. So it is again another drawback of it. First of all is that it shakes the darling, means it shakes the the buds, the violent winds in such a way that it doesn't blossom into flower. Now see, he uses the word darling buds. So this is a sort of personification. Now darling buds, yes, and summer's leaf had all too short a date, that is it's short-lived. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines. Sometimes too short the eye of heaven, that is it is metaphor, or rather that is the sun is being compared to the eye of heaven. That is eye of heaven here refers to the sun. That is sometimes the sun shines too brightly, okay, and sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines. Remember when we did the poetry of earth, that in summer sometimes the sun is so hot that even the birds they stop their song, okay. They are so exhausted by this hot sun that they stop singing. So he also points out that even in this pleasant weather, if when the sun shines, sometimes it is shining very brightly, so it is making everybody tired. So this is also not very pleasurable in this sort, in that way. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, that is the eye of heaven, as I said, the sun shines very brightly, and often his gold complexion dimmed. That is, if the sky is overcast, that is, if the sky is filled with clouds, then the sun cannot be seen. Hardly we can see the sun. So the gold complexion, that is the golden, that is the sun is being imagined as a a person, or rather you can say a lady, okay, with gold complexion dimmed. That is, the sun is hidden behind the clouds. So what the poet is trying to point out here is the inconsistency of the sun. And every fair from fair sometimes decline by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. That is, every fair, that is, it refers to all beautiful things on earth. That is, it could be objects, it could be beautiful people, everything, okay. From fairs sometimes decline, that is, say suppose if a person is very beautiful in his or her youth, gradually as time goes by, that beauty fades away. So what the poet is trying to say, that it is the law of nature, that is everything will gradually get destroyed, because all worldly things are subject to destruction. Sometimes declines by chance, that is maybe something unfortunate happens and that person loses his or her beauty, or nature's changing course untrimmed. Nature's changing course means by the law of nature, as you grow old, your beauty fades away, or rather you means you get wrinkles on your face, and means in a way that the beauty does not remain as it was in the youth. So till now what we have seen is he's trying to show us the drawbacks of summer, as well as the that everything, all worldly things are subject to decay and destruction. We stop here today. We'll do the rest of it in the next class. Thank you.